discuss, or at least introduce myself. This is introductory to the debut of my book, Renaissance Generation of Soapbox Polemic. It's my first book. We're going to discuss it a little bit.
They said my future was dark. You see me now. Just look around.
This is R.J. Melvin Jones Jr. I'm 23 years old, 23 and a half years old, going on 24. I live in New Jersey, and I'm a writer.
I get my energy from my energy.
Being a writer in 2010 means to explore the contemporary experiences of people. With everything going on, this social, political, economic upheaval that we have going on in the United States, I think that writers that are existing at a time such as this, I think it's important for them to just write. It's important for people to be reading right now, and the only way for people to read things is for people to be writing them. So being a writer in 2010, it's a responsibility. It's a very big responsibility. I feel like there's much to be recorded, there's much to be documented, and I feel like there's just a certain translation that you get from writing that writing really drives the writer to explore the deeper, more meaningful parts of him or herself. And I feel that right now in the early 21st century, we need that type of inspiration. We need that type of stimuli. So that's what it means to be a writer in 2010.
I be in outer space, but I got inner peace. So tell my.
I'm influenced by a lot of things. I'm influenced by life. I'm influenced by nature. I'm influenced by things around me, things going on around me. As far as people, probably the most influential person in composing this book was Dr. Cornel West. As some may know, Dr. Cornel West is an endorser of mine. He's co-signed my book. He's agreed to endorse it. And his book, Democracy Matters, was actually the first book. I say it's the first book of the rest of my life because it wasn't necessarily the message and the content, of the book that really stirred me up and got me, and just plunged me into this writer that I am right now. It was more so just the intellect, just the intellectual sophistication that was translated through that book. And then from that book and exploring the rest of his writings, from Race Matters to Hope on a Tightrope, I was able to I was just really inspired by just the awesomeness and the freakish brilliance of this man. And he really was a instigator and an inspiration in bringing this book together and making me who I am right now. Outside of Dr. West, rappers influence me, hip hop artists. Big Fiasco is, right now he's my favorite MC. He's definitely been an influence in not just my writing, but also my parlance as a person. Just how I carry myself, my demeanor. Just always wanting to impart, and always wanting to be taught something. Other hip hop artists like Jay Electronica, Mos Def, Kanye West. Those are some of the musical influences that kind of make up and inspire me. Outside of that, God has to be the most important and the biggest influence. Writing this book for me was an act of spiritual obedience. at the time when I wrote this book, it was a very confusing time for me. I really didn't know where I was at, where I was going, what I was supposed to do, who I was going to be, and during that period, I was really able to discover the voice of God. The scariest voice I've ever heard in my entire life, and yeah, he's been my light. He's been my my guide this entire time. So I definitely have to recognize and give reverence to God for where He's brought me right now.
I'm feeling really good. Me and my different beat.
The Renaissance Generation, a Soapbox Polemic, is my first book, and the writing process for me was a little trepidatious. It was easy at the same time. It was trepidatious only because I've never written a book before, and I really didn't know what to expect. What I was gonna say. How things were gonna translate onto the paper. So it was good and it was bad. It was happy. It was sad. It was relieving, and at the same time it was infuriating. Just composing this book and gearing it towards the audience that I'm aiming for. But the book is it's a manifesto. You could call it. I think it'll translate like that. I hope that it translates as a peer-to-peer type of read, like me talking to you, the reader. There's nothing really academic about the book. There's nothing, I didn't really have any real reason to write the book. There's no, other than God, there wasn't really any other goad in composing this book. The book is just really meant to just motivate people and get them involved in what's going on in this country right now. The book is meant to start a revolution. It's meant to just, really tap in to the minds of the readers, particularly in my generation, and really get them hip to what's going on right now. A lot of the things I talk about in the book are really translate. Usually you find these things in like books from 50-plus-year-old PhD holding scholars, laureates. But I wanted to write something that could be appealing to both, that type of person, and also to, someone my age, and perhaps even someone younger, maybe a precocious, 16-year-old, that, takes an interest in, philosophical and intellectual things like that. With the book, I really hope that it motivates people, inspires people outside of, just political and social orientations. I really hope that it really helps people to posit themselves in the place that they were destined to be. This book is not only maybe a political read, it's also meant to be an inspiration. So, as a 23-year-old, I've met countless people that have dreamed of writing books, and these people are in their 50s and 60s. They've always said, I want to write a book. And they're here at the tail end of their life, and it hasn't been done yet. So I really hope that this book, being that it's coming from someone my age, and with my disposition and my circumstances, I really hope that this book really motivates and inspires people to just reach for their dreams and just be more aware and lead a more noble life of consciousness.
Close parentheses.